John was not born rich. He grew up in a small town in Ohio, raised by a mother who worked long hours as a cook and a father who fixed broken cars in their backyard. Life was never easy, but John had one thing that kept him moving, a dream that one day he would build something great, something that would make his parents proud. But dreams often clash with reality. By the time John finished high school, his family couldn't afford college. His friends moved to universities across the country, chasing careers, while John was left behind, working odd jobs just to keep the lights on at home. He felt ashamed, sometimes even worthless. One day, an opportunity came. Not glamorous, not promising, but necessary. John was offered a job as a janitor at a big office building in New York City. The pay was low, the hours long, and the work dirty. But John accepted. He knew he had to start somewhere. Every night, when the office workers left, John arrived. He carried his mop, his bucket, and his gloves. While others rested, he scrubbed toilets, emptied trash bins, and cleaned the floors until they shined. Some workers ignored him, others barely noticed he existed. Yet John paid attention to everything. Instead of just cleaning, John observed. He noticed the way executives dressed, the books they carried, the conversations they had when they didn't realize the janitor was listening. Every discarded magazine, every thrown-away business journal, John collected and read after his shift. One night, while cleaning an office, John picked up a book someone had left behind. The title was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Curious, he opened it and began reading. That night, something awakened inside him. The book spoke of persistence, desire, and faith, the very things John had always clung to without knowing they were keys to success. From that day on, John made a vow. He would not remain a janitor forever. He would learn, grow, and one day build a life beyond what anyone imagined. John turned every night shift into a classroom. While others slept, he studied. He read books on business, finance, self-improvement. He borrowed library books, watched free lectures, and scribbled notes during his short breaks. He even practiced speaking in front of a mirror, training himself to sound confident.
Years passed, still a janitor, but no longer the same man. John had ideas now, big ideas. He noticed how the cleaning company he worked for wasted supplies, treated employees poorly, and lost clients because of sloppy service. He thought, if I ever run a company, I'll do it differently. I'll respect people. I'll run it with honesty and care. One evening, while mopping a hallway, John overheard two managers talking about how difficult it was to find reliable cleaning services for smaller businesses. The big companies charged too much, and the small ones lacked quality. A spark lit inside him. This was his chance. John saved every dollar he could. He skipped luxuries, wore the same old shoes, and ate simple meals. For 5 years, he saved and planned. Finally, with just a few $1,000s and endless determination, John quit his janitor job and started his own cleaning service. At first, it was just him and an old vacuum cleaner. He went door to door, offering affordable, reliable cleaning for small offices and shops. Most people said no. Some laughed at him. But John remembered the lesson from Think and Grow Rich. A quitter never wins, and a winner never quits. So he didn't quit. One day, a small law office gave him a chance. John cleaned it so well that the lawyers were impressed. They recommended him to another office, and then another. Slowly, his reputation grew. John hired one worker, then 2, then 10. He treated them with respect, paid them fairly, and trained them personally. Unlike his old bosses, he knew that workers were the backbone of a company. Years passed, and John's little company expanded. He introduced better cleaning techniques, invested in eco-friendly supplies, and built long-term relationships with clients. His company was no longer small. It was one of the fastest-growing cleaning services in New York. By the time John turned 40, he was no longer the janitor people ignored. He was the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company employing hundreds of workers. The same offices he once mopped, he now entered in a suit as a business partner, shaking hands with executives who once overlooked him. But John never forgot where he came from. He set up scholarship programs for kids from poor families so they wouldn't have to give up on education like he once did. He gave his employees opportunities to grow, offering training and promotions. He even visited schools, telling children his story, how a janitor with nothing but a dream, persistence, and faith built a life that once seemed impossible. One day during an interview, a reporter asked him, "What was the secret to your success?" John smiled and said, "The secret? Never quitting. I started as a janitor. Every day I could have said, 'This is my life and I'll never be more than this.' But I refused. I believed there was more for me, and I worked for it." Success is not about luck, it's about persistence. If you refuse to quit, life cannot ignore you forever. Fear, poverty, and rejection are not permanent. They are tests. And those who endure, who keep moving despite failures, eventually win. John was once just a janitor, but persistence turned him into a millionaire. And if he could do it, so can you.